Hello. Welcome to Living Well Naturally. I am Dr. Anna Saylor, KST chiropractor and owner of Van Every Family Chiropractic Center, located in Royal Oak, Michigan. My patients from 3 hours old to 103 years young all have one thing in common. They want to feel better. Together, we will share and explore a healthy lifestyle to help you be the best you possible. It is my goal to provide you with information, insight, experience, and motivation that will allow you to feel better and put you on the path to living well naturally. Today we're discussing a topic we have all been very familiar with, stress. Between work, family, and fitting everything into our busy schedules, we have to feel it. And when the holidays are quickly approaching, most of us find ourselves absolutely overwhelmed. There are three major types of stress. Routine stress, the type we experience from daily pressures like work, school, and family responsibilities. Stress brought on by a sudden change, such as losing your job or getting a divorce. And finally, traumatic stress, resulting from an event like a major accident or injury. Today, my guests and I will discuss different natural ways of coping with stress, and I'd like to welcome them all to the show. Welcome. Joining me today are Dr. Marissa Heisel, Heather Cecil, and Kevin Eckert. So tell me a little bit about you, Dr. Marissa.
I'm a holistic chiropractor based in Ontario, Canada. I've been practicing for quite some time with a background in midwifery as well, and I use a lot of essential oils in my practice as well.
Wonderful. Heather?
Yes, I've been a massage therapist for 12 years. I've been practicing at Van Every, which I love, and I was at Beaumont for a while with their integrative medicine, and I specialize in oncology massage, working with cancer patients, lymphatic massage, which affects our immune system, and then Reiki energy work, which helps reduce stress. And then I teach hands-on massage as well at Carnegie Institute in Troy.
Wonderful. And Kevin?
My name is Kevin Eckert. I'm a video producer. I'm a production coordinator here at CMN TV, and I am also a filmmaker.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. So let's talk a little bit about stress, and let's get started. So can you define stress for me?
One way that I often define stress for patients and when I'm teaching is anything that takes us away from our normal balance point. And I'm not talking about balance when we're all searching for balance. I'm talking about the ability of our bodies to be able to return to natural function, to normal resting points after we've had some sort of a stressful event. And as you said, stress can be short-lived, or it can be something that's quite long-term, and it can be traumatic as well. But what we want our bodies to do is to respond to stress and then to be able to adapt to a more normal resting place. And we can't always do that.
Wonderful. How would you define stress, Heather? What do you see?
Well, I see stress that manifests, you have the mind-body connect. So you can't have stress like through an event without it affecting you mentally, physically. So when I see a lot of people, they come to me like lack of sleep, having a hard time sleeping, tension. We all have those tension areas where it goes to.
Like right on their shoulders.
Exactly. The weight of the world, yes. Yep, on the shoulders. That's like the number one spot I think I see. So I just see that like muscles, they get bound up. We're not breathing properly. We're not utilizing tools in our life to help disconnect from stress and give ourselves a break.
Okay. And Kevin, how would you define stress?
I don't know. I think a lot of people have a lot of stress going on. Nowadays, you're expected to be working all the time. If you're not busy, you're considered kind of like a lazy person, or people have that impression in general. So people tend to fill up their lives, or at least I do, with work even when you're not at work. You're always working on something, you're always busy, you're filling everything in your schedule up as much as you possibly can.
Constantly doing things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's talk a little bit recognizing stress. So when you're stressed, what do you see?
I think you have kind of like a shorter fuse, you like your temperament wise, you kind of end up getting angrier, eat more easily, you can't handle as much not going your way, things like that. Also, like just generally in your muscles, you tend to feel a little bit more tense, things like that.
Exactly. Heather?
Yeah, me personally? Yeah, well, I notice that I'm not breathing properly. I hold my breath, and that's something I think we do just in life. If we get stressed, we kind of clench, like we're kind of in that fight or flight mode, because we do, like Kevin said, have so much going on. We're so fast-paced, and we don't take that time to just heal, get back to an even ground. And if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't help our loved ones. I think we feel bad if we take time for ourselves. It's like seems selfish. That's like a number one I get from people in massage when they come get a massage. They say, "Oh, I feel like bad doing this because."
And it's only an hour.
Exactly.
We need that hour.
We do. Yeah.
What about you, Dr. Heisel?
I think what I see a lot are more substantial consequences of stress. So you'll see people with decreased bowel function, with constant digestive upset, who get sick quite frequently. So immune system is going out the window. But I really appreciate what Heather said as well, because that's one of the things that I talk about all the time with people, that if we don't take time for ourselves, it's going to be very difficult for us to be able to take care of our families and our workloads.
Because as a mother and a business owner, you see that. I know I have to manage and constantly balance between the two. So, you know, I enjoy my massages with Heather. I enjoy my adjustments with Dr. Heisel. So, you know, those are the big things that I see. You can see your temper getting a little more edgy, not feeling quite as good. Right now, cold and flu season seems to be hitting everybody. But if your immune system was really good, you think that maybe there'd be a little bit better balance and not get as sick, too.
Right.
What would you recommend? Yeah, what would you recommend to help decrease stress?
Certainly coming in to be adjusted regularly. It just helps to reset our nervous system, to help us get us back into that homeostatic, or that balance that we're looking for, that if we go into fight or flight, as Heather mentioned, that we can restore ourselves back to more of a rest and relaxation and recovery physiological perspective. And then I use a lot of essential oils as well in my practice to give people tools so they can use at home.
Nice. Give me a really good recommendation on something to help decrease stress in essential oil.
Certainly lavender is one that people think of all the time. Okay. It's calming for the nervous system, not just emotionally, but also calming to the nervous system. Something that we could use in a bath, something that we can diffuse in our houses, and will be really helpful to get us to sleep. Because one of the things that happens a lot of times when people are stressed is that their sleep is really challenged as well, and then they're not getting the recovery and the recuperation that they need from their daily stressful lives.
Exactly. So with you, Kevin, tell me a little bit, did you notice more? Because I know one of the reasons why you're on this show is because you're a little stressed. I can't imagine it. Tell me a little bit, like with sleep, do you notice that with you, the sleeping?
Yeah, it does become more difficult to sleep when you fill up your schedule so much, just because you're always thinking about whatever is coming up next. There's never like, oh, I can sleep as much as I need to because it doesn't really matter when I get up. It's always, I have to get up at exactly this time to do this, and you're always thinking about what's coming up next in your job or whatever you're working on.
Well, I think technology has kind of got us on the edge. We're constantly on our phones, constantly, instant messaging and texting, and, it's the constant.
Yeah, it's always like 5 feet away from you at the most, Yeah,
exactly. So what about with you, Heather? Tell me a little bit more about what you can do massage-wise to help patients relieve stress.
Well, massage not only feels amazing, but people don't realize all the benefits that it really does have. Just help relieve muscle tension, which can cause dysfunction in the body, such as headaches, things like that. It can just help with reduce your anxiety. So it releases our happy hormones in our body, and it makes us feel good, get better rest. Speaking of rest, is important. And I try to encourage people to turn off their phones, make sure they're off, and take this time for yourself, as well as not talk during it, and just kind of, because a lot of people like to chit-chat, which is fine, it's what they need, but I try to encourage that at least, because you can't get the full benefit if you're still going. Just try to get that mind. And one way that you can do this through deep breathing. So just to kind of try to breathe in nice and slow, and then blow out all your stress and problems just out through your mouth.
Which is nice.
It is. I try to do that before bed, too, before I go to sleep, instead of being connected, like you said, on the phone.
I know we use Serenity at night just to calm everything down, and that's got a lavender base, and that's more of anything to calm and bring peace to the house is good. Tell me a little bit, other than oils, what else would you recommend, too, for relieving stress?
During the day or at the end of the day, are you thinking?
Probably. Maybe both.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
I think certainly finding some form of exercise that works for you, whether that's doing something that's more fast-paced and cardiovascular to release some more endorphins, as Heather was saying, those happy hormones, or whether that it's something like yoga or Pilates or something more meditative in order to get us into that more relaxed brainwave state, more relaxed physiological body state, but something that we can do in order to relieve and get rid of some of that excess stress. When we spend all day, as Kevin was saying, just working and working and working, and then we're on our cell phones and our laptops until 10 minutes before bed, it's really hard for our brains to get into that more relaxed, slow-paced brainwave function in order to give us that recovery and that rest that we need.
Yeah, because we see it all the time, even like watching TV before you go to bed. And I mean, my kids, it's like, okay, let's calm down, let's read a book, let's do what we need to do to just kind of breathe, because it is a fast pace, especially nowadays. It seems really quick.
I try to teach people that they need to give all of that up at least an hour before bedtime. Current research actually says 4 hours, which is really challenging for people. If you're trying to do work at the end of the day, or if you've got kids doing homework, that would mean turning everything off at 5 p.m. and that doesn't work.
My cell phone would never accept that.
There's being realistic.
Exactly. So being realistic in moderation, I'd say an hour before, so that really focused brainwave that we're using in order to concentrate on television or on work can start to slow down. It's when people describe themselves as being unable to turn their brains off. We need to find a way to do that.
Yeah. So what do you do then at the end of the day, Kevin? Anything that you do? Or you're still functioning high?
Usually I turn on the stupidest TV show that I can think of so that my mind just turns into mush, and then I try to go to sleep.
Okay. Yeah, and I read. I mean, I'm a reader, so, and that's, if I don't go to bed and not read, my brain still goes, and I'm still thinking about what I need to do, and so that's my peace and calming. What about you, Heather? What do you do?
Yeah, I do. I diffuse some oils, so usually Serenity is my thing, sometimes lavender at night, and I just make sure I turn my phone off. I don't have a TV in my room. I got rid of that, because that's keeps you so connected, and I'm like, no, I don't need to turn it on and mindlessly flip, because it's easy to do.
Yeah.
So I just do some deep breathing. Sometimes I listen to meditation CDs.
So music.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we need to take a quick break, so we'll be right back after this message.
Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change. Let's go!
To the Batmobile. Dang it.
To the invisible jet.
Dang it.
Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women. I could use your help. Yeah! Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. The pressure's too much. I quit.
I get it. I can do better. Just please, don't leave.
Don't let your heart quit on you. Get your uncontrolled high blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late.
Welcome back. I'm here with Dr. Marissa Heisel, Heather Cecil, and Kevin Eckert, and we're talking about stress. So we ended the last part about what we do to go to bed. Let's talk about what we can do throughout the day just to kind of relax ourselves. Any thoughts or suggestions?
I think any time that we can take a break to get up from our desks, if we're working at a desk or whatever we're doing, to take time to stretch, to breathe, as Heather has said a few times, to get ourselves out of the routine that we're stuck in, however that might be. If we can get outside, that's always brilliant. You know, of course, snow is coming where we are, where I am. Snow is here. But if we can get outside, even for 30 seconds or a minute, just to get some fresh air and to get out of the routine that we've been stuck in, gives our brains just a little bit of a break from the thing that we've been doing all day long. And that will rejuvenate us just a little bit.
Any suggestions, Heather?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's important to remind people we forget we get stuck at the desk. I see so many people that come and say, I sit in front of the computer for 8 hours, I don't get up and move. So it's really good to get up, move around, and try to leave like the media out of it. Like don't go to the TV, put your phone away if you can. And sometimes I'll just listen to music, do stretches, that kind of thing.
I recommend just an egg timer or setting an alarm on your phone, 1 hour max, and then get up, take a break just for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
makes a big difference.
It does.
So focus. What about you, Kevin?
Well, I was the stress guinea pig, so I don't know if I'm the best person to ask, but
yes, you were.
Yeah, getting up and doing anything physical is a good idea. Like, I like to pace if I have a phone conversation going and I'm able to get up and walk around, I'll try to do that just so I'm not sitting down the entire time. That
movement.
helps. Yeah,
anything
just
to help
moving.
move.
Any movement usually helps.
Wonderful. Well, Kevin's here today because he suffers from stress. So let's watch a short video on his journey to becoming stress-free.
My name is David McCullough, and we're at Neuro Fitness Center. We offer neurofeedback services through our Neuro Optimal brain training system. We offer flotation therapy. We're actually the first in the Michigan and metro area to offer flotation again. There's one main reason why people will come here: stress.
Well, I was actually reading about this for the last couple of weeks, and I was hoping to try it out and see if it can help me relieve some stress.
Most of us have had traumatic situations that have happened in our lives, and the body has accumulated this trauma and this stress over a long period of time frame. So eventually people begin to come to this place where they're in crisis.
Well, right now it's a very calm environment. It feels good in here. It's nice and quiet. But yeah, generally I'm a little more on edge, so I'm interested to see if this will help.
We offer 4 main services. The first service is the Neuro Optimal Neurofeedback service, which is a brain training service. It's just going to place sensors on the scalp, it's read only, and it's going to capture the brainwave activity. The computer is going to read that. So right now she has the sensors that are placed on the scalp and is reading the brainwave activity of the computer. So when a frequency begins to go off track, there's a skip, pause, or interrupt within the music that she's listening to. And what that skip, pause, or interrupt is doing is signaling the brain to come back into the line. Is the power plate, which is a form of whole body vibration. All right, so what it's doing is the frequency is going through the muscles and causing a contraction. So it's like having 30 muscle contractions in 1 second.
Yeah, it's like after stretching for a long time.
Is our flotation therapy service, which is a new addition that we've recently added since May of 2014. And what Kevin is doing now is resetting his whole central nervous system, is resetting his whole body, because there's no light, there's no sound, there's no gravity. And the water is heated to skin temperature, so you begin to lose the sense of where the water is and where your body is. So this lack of stimulus is helping the body to rest at a deep level. But once you do brain training, once you do floating, all of a sudden, those stored emotions, those stored tension patterns begin to release.
It was fantastic. I feel really good. My spine is relaxed and my skin feels really good. Like, for a while you're just trying to get used to not having any distractions around you, and I don't know, it's way different than being outside or being with your phone and your computer and everything else. It's good. It just takes a little while to get used to.
Well, Kevin, tell us a little bit about your experience.
Sure, it's wild. It's really wild. You, after a while, after you really start to relax in there, the water stops rippling around, and really it's mostly salt. It's like, they said it was something like 1,200 pounds of salt in just that little 10 inches of water. Once you stop moving around and thinking about, you know, your skin and your limbs and everything, you know, it stops rippling, and you're not getting any feedback from your body anymore, really. So you start to feel like you're almost just like a head, like a brain. You're just a brain, and you don't feel any weight. You don't feel like you're being pulled down to the earth anymore. You feel kind of free to just fly around wherever you want. I notice, like, if you move your neck a little bit, it feels like you start to move off in that direction. There's none of the regular feedback that you get from being outside with all these other stimuli.
Did you notice your stress came down, though?
Yeah. Actually, it went down quite significantly after that, and I was only in there for about an hour.
Okay, nice. Were you claustrophobic? That's what most people... No? Okay.
No, I don't even think... because you're not feeling that space pushing on you in any way, I don't even think a person who is claustrophobic would be upset by that, really. It's a really calming,
nice, very nice,
good experience.
Okay. Well, I noticed that Kevin was really stressed out, so we actually invited him to our office to see how much we could help him too. So you're going to start seeing some footage about Van Every and your experience at Van Every Family Chiropractic Center. This is Kevin getting a spinal scan. We don't do x-rays at our office, but we actually look at the nervous system. So Danelle is actually reading different muscle temperature. She's reading electrical impulses. Right now he's doing range of motion. So he is testing his neck, and then we're going to test his back. So we get a good baseline on where you start, Kevin, and then kind of go from, what we can do and go from there. So this shows Kevin is stressed out because black would be off the charts.
I was off the charts a lot, wasn't I?
Yes, you were definitely off the charts. And here's Kevin getting adjusted. I use a tool called an arthrostem, which actually gently touches the body, taps the body into the right position. So he's getting adjusted right now, no cracking or popping, and it's actually very relaxing. And then he had a wonderful massage with Heather. So here's a short snippet of him getting a massage with Heather. So you're going to tell me a little bit about your experience. How was that?
Absolutely. It's very nice. It was everything that happened in your office, a very calming, pleasant experience.
Very nice.
Heather, you were wonderful.
Thank you.
He was like a noodle when he walked out.
I know. I was just kind of rolling out of there like a meatball. But yeah, that was. It's very relaxing. Everything that you guys do there, it feels good. Everyone is super pleasant and kind and willing to explain everything that's going on. You explained to me a lot. I was one of the people who couldn't shut up when I was getting a massage, of course, but you answered all my questions. It was really interesting, and Anna, you did too. That was great.
Yeah,
I had some questions about the cranial bones. You explained where all the different nerves went, a whole bunch of things that I didn't know before I had come there. So I really apprecited that.
And it actually felt good to get adjusted.
Yes, all of it. Yeah, all of it felt really good. So I appreciate all the help.
So if he would come to your office, what else could you have suggested to Kevin too?
Other than getting adjusted, what I probably would have done is added in some other essential oils as well. Awesome. Things that we could use in the office to help his nervous system to reintegrate a little bit better, to get him out of his head a little bit maybe and more into his body again, and then giving him some things that he could take home as well.
Okay.
As well as probably some tools like breathing and ways to turn his brain off at the end of the day.
Okay. A specific oil to get him back out of his head.
I love a blend called Balance. It's a blend of frankincense and a couple of different tree oils. And if we think about trees, they're very balanced and grounding.
Okay.
And when we think about stress, people are really stuck in their heads. Like you said, not only are you making lists, but you're making lists for your lists to try to keep
them off.
Exactly, over and over and over. And so to find a way to get back into our bodies, and that's what meditation does. That's what breathing does. That's what some gentle exercise does, as well as massage and chiropractic. But it's nice to have tools at home as well, so that people don't always have to be in our offices, and there are things that they can do at the end of the day if they're struggling with just finding a way to shut down.
Okay. Because we talked a little bit about what else you could do, Kevin. So I know you have a really good diet, so that was one of the good things you cut.
It's better now.
It's better. It's better.
I'm trying.
You cut a lot of sugars this year, right? That was a big thing.
Almost all of them.
Okay, and that really has helped.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. That makes a big difference. You're not going to have a functioning brain the way you want it to be functioning if your body isn't getting what it needs. You're not moving at all, or you're not eating the right food. So that's like step one, probably. Yeah. Do you have any examples of like a breathing exercise that you would recommend for someone? I'm just curious if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I like to really look at with people is to put one hand on their chest and one hand over their stomach. And as they breathe in, really feeling their breath rise and fall with each movement. So often, and part of the reason that people have so much tension in their shoulders is because they're only breathing into their into their shoulders. It's almost like they're gasping for air and they don't even realize that they're doing it. And so to find a way to really centralize that breath back into their body, you know, whether you have to do it with your eyes closed at first potentially, until you can start to get into more of a normal cycle with it and not need to do that.
Okay.
But it's a way to really be in your body as you're breathing, as opposed to be in your head. And every time you start to think again, just bringing your attention to that, just even if you gently say thinking, to recognize that's what you're doing, to come back to your breath, is a really easy way to do that as well.
Yeah. What about you, Heather? Suggestions?
It's very similar. That's what I teach clients and also my students, how to just one hand on the chest, one hand on the abdomen, helps connect you to yourself and be more self-aware. And then also acknowledge your thoughts, but try to like let them go as like clouds in the blue sky. That's kind of what I do, is just kind of picture them go, and then just say positive thoughts like grateful, healing within yourself, kind of like affirmations that grateful for.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know right now it's the season of gratitude and thankfulness. So I know a lot of people are talking about gratitude and, you know, gratitude journals and what you can do, and even doing, you know, one or two things, writing it down on a daily basis, something you're grateful for, or something, thinking that too. You know, what else are you trying, Kevin, then?
As far as new things?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, I guess after the isolation tank experience, I've been trying to find at least a little bit of time every day. It's more difficult when you don't have that physical thing around you to shut everything else out, but you can try to replicate that by just giving yourself a little bit, like you guys were talking about, just giving yourself a little bit of time every day where you don't allow anything to impinge on you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that it's pretty beneficial for your mind in general, just to have a little bit of time where you're not allowing anything else in.
Okay. So give me like a really good, what would be your number one tip, Dr. Heisel, to help relieve stress?
Take a few minutes every day. You know, I love your idea, excuse me, of starting the day with a gratitude journal maybe. Write down 3 things to start your day with, just to get you into a space of reflection, as opposed to a space of immediately ticking off the to-do list and reminding yourself of all of that. And give yourself even 5 minutes a day, a couple of times a day if you can, to stop and refocus, to get out of that rat race that we get going into in our heads.
Nice. What about you, Heather?
Yeah, I think journaling is awesome and huge. I keep little sticky notes of quotes or affirmations around, like on my mirror. So when I get up first thing in the morning, if I don't remember to take time, I have a sticky note on my mirror that says, "What are you grateful for?" And so then and I have one in my car, just like around in my kitchen by my coffee maker.
Nice.
Things like that to just help remind myself, because you're not in that enclosed thing, you're
Right.
out with everything else going on. So you kind of have to do little things to help remind yourself, because it's easy to forget.
It's really easy, and that's where we get out of it so easy, and we're stressed. Everybody's so stressed right now. But there are things that we can do, and so that's why we're talking about them today.
Yeah, exactly.
So what else are you going to try, Kevin, to relieve some of your stress? What would you like to do? Since we tried chiropractic and massage and...
I don't know. I guess I would like to get more into the whole breathing, being more conscious of the breathing, because that plays into your muscle tension and things like that, as far as I understand it. So I'd like to be more conscious of that.
Okay. So I'd like to thank my guests, Dr. Marissa Heisel, Heather Cecil, and Kevin Eckert, for being our guinea pig, for joining me today. It is our hope that we have been able to provide you with some information as well as some ideas. Thank you for joining us today on Living Well Naturally. I'm Dr. Anna Saylor, wishing you health and happiness.